I became a forest ranger because I loved the silence. 20 years in the city had drained me, filled my head with noise I couldn't escape. When the position opened up at Blackwood National Forest, I jumped at it. The job was simple. Patrol the trails, check campsites, make sure hikers stayed safe. What they didn't tell me during training was that some parts of the forest had their own rules. Sector 7 was one of those places. My first week on the job, my supervisor, Tom, pulled me aside. He was in his 50s, weathered face lined with years of sun and worry. We stood by the map board in the ranger station, and he tapped a shaded area in the northeast corner. "See this section?" he said quietly. "Sector 7. You'll patrol everywhere else first. Only go there if absolutely necessary." I laughed, thinking he was hazing the new guy. What is a haunted? Tom didn't smile. "Just trust me on this. And if you do have to go in, be out before dark. Always." I nodded, but I didn't take it seriously. Not then. 3 weeks later, I got a call about a missing hiker. A woman named Sarah Chun, age 28, hadn't checked in with her family after a solo camping trip. Her car was found at the Sector 7 trailhead. My stomach dropped when dispatch gave me the location. I tried calling Tom, but he was on vacation. The other rangers were dealing with a wildfire 2 counties over. It was just me. I loaded my pack with supplies: flashlight, first aid kit, radio, flares, water, energy bars. The basics. I checked my service weapon, a Glock I'd only ever fired at the range. The weight of it felt heavier than usual as I holstered it. The drive to Sector 7 took 40 minutes on winding dirt roads. The trees grew denser as I went deeper, their branches twisting overhead like arthritic fingers. By the time I reached the trailhead, the afternoon sun was already sinking, painting everything in shades of amber and shadow. Sarah's car sat alone in the small parking area, a blue Honda with a hiking permit visible on the dash. I peered through the windows. Her purse was still inside. That wasn't good. I started down the trail, calling her name every few minutes. "Sarah, Sarah Chun, Forest Service." My voice echoed back at me, thinner each time, like the forest was swallowing it. The trail wound through dense undergrowth. Ferns brushed against my legs, and somewhere overhead, a crow called out, harsh and grating. I checked my map. Sarah had listed a campsite near Miller Creek, about 3 miles in. I picked up my pace. An hour in, I found her tent. It was erected properly, stakes driven deep, but the front flap hung open, swaying in the breeze. I approached carefully, hand near my weapon. "Sarah, it's the Forest Service. Are you here?" Nothing. I crouched and looked inside. Her sleeping bag was rumpled, torn at the seams like something had clawed through it. Her backpack was overturned, contents scattered. A water bottle, a paperback book, a bag of trail mix torn open with the food gone. But what made my blood run cold was the scratch marks. Deep gouges in the tent fabric, starting from the outside and raking inward. Something had tried to get in. I backed out and scanned the area. The campsite was in a small clearing beside the creek, water burbling over smooth stones. Everything looked peaceful, almost serene, but I felt eyes on me. That primal sensation that raises every hair on your body. I called out again, louder this time. "Sarah, if you can hear me, make some noise." A stick cracked behind me. I spun around, hand on my gun. The forest stood still, trees like silent sentinels. Then I heard it. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, moving through the underbrush about 30 yards to my left. "Sarah?" I moved toward the sound, pushing through a thicket of saplings. "I'm here to help you." The footsteps stopped. I froze, listening. The forest had gone completely quiet. No birds, no insects, nothing. Just my own breathing and the hammering of my heart. Then I saw her. She stood between two massive pines, partially hidden in shadow. Her hiking clothes were filthy and torn, hair matted with leaves and dirt. But it was her face that stopped me cold. Her eyes were wide, unblinking, and her mouth hung open like she was screaming, though no sound came out. "Sarah?" I took a step forward. "Are you hurt?" She didn't respond, didn't blink, didn't move at all. I raised my radio. "Dispatch!" This is Ranger Collins. "I've located the missing hiker in Sector 7. She appears to be in shock, requesting medical." Sarah turned and ran. Not stumbled, not walked. She ran with a speed that seemed impossible for someone who'd been lost in the woods for 2 days. She crashed through the underbrush, branches snapping, and vanished into the dense trees. "Sarah, wait!" I took off after her, my pack bouncing against my back. I could hear her ahead of me, moving fast, but the forest was a maze of shadows, and I kept losing sight of her between the trees. I ran for what felt like hours, but was probably only minutes. My lungs burned, my legs ached, and then, suddenly, I burst into another clearing and stopped. This wasn't on any map. The clearing was perfectly circular, about 50 feet across, and the ground was bare dirt. No grass, no plants, nothing grew there. In the center stood a structure that made my skin crawl, a crude shelter built from branches and bones. Animal bones, I told myself. Deer, maybe? Had to be deer. Sarah stood in front of it, motionless again, her back to me. "Sarah," I said carefully, approaching slowly with my hands visible. "My name is David. I'm a forest ranger. Your family is worried about you. Let me help you get home." She turned around. Her face had changed. The fear was gone, replaced by something else, something vacant and cold. When she spoke, her voice was wrong, too deep, like it was coming from somewhere far away. "He doesn't want us to leave." "Who doesn't want you to leave?" She pointed behind me. I turned and my heart stopped. A man stood at the edge of the clearing. At least, it looked like a man at first glance. Tall, gaunt, dressed in what might have once been park ranger clothes, now rotted and hanging off his skeletal frame. But his face was all wrong. The features were stretched, distorted, and his eyes were completely black, reflecting nothing. "Run," Sarah whispered. I didn't need to be told twice. I grabbed her arm and pulled her toward the opposite side of the clearing. She resisted for a moment, then seemed to snap out of whatever trance held her. We crashed into the forest together, branches whipping at our faces. Behind us, I heard footsteps, not running, walking, steady, unhurried, but somehow getting closer. This way. I yanked Sarah to the right, following a deer trail that led downhill. My radio crackle was static, then Tom's voice cut through, broken and garbled. "David, out of there. Sector 7, not safe." "I know," I shouted into the radio. "We're heading west, trying to reach the main trail." The footsteps behind us never faltered. Always the same pace. Always getting closer. We ran until our legs gave out, collapsing behind a fallen log. I risked a look back. The forest was empty, but I could feel him out there, watching, waiting. Sarah was crying, clutching my arm. "He's been following me since the first night." I tried to leave, but I kept ending up back at that clearing, over and over, like the forest wouldn't let me go. "We're getting out," I promised, though I wasn't sure I believed it. "Stay close to me." I checked my compass. The needle spun wildly, useless. My GPS showed our location, flickering across the screen, jumping from place to place. The forest was playing with us. Night was falling fast. The shadows between the trees deepened, merged, became solid walls of darkness. I clicked on my flashlight, and the beam seemed to die after only a few feet. Swallowed by the gloom. "We need to find shelter I said. Build a fire. Wait until morning. We found a spot beneath a massive oak, its roots creating a natural shelter. I gathered wood while Sarah sat silent, staring into the darkness. My hand shook as I struck the lighter, once, twice, 3 times before the kindling caught. The fire pushed back the darkness, maybe 10 feet. Beyond that, nothing but black. Tell me about your family, I said, try and keep Sarah engaged, keep her present. Your parents called in the report. My dad, she said softly, he taught me to hike when I was little. He's going to be so worried. We'll get you back to him. I promise. A branch snapped in the darkness. I grabbed my flashlight and swept the beam across the trees. Nothing. But I could hear breathing now, slow and raspy, just beyond the edge of firelight. Sarah, stay behind me. I drew my weapon, hand surprisingly steady despite the fear coursing through me. The breathing grew louder, closer. Then I saw him. He stood just at the edge of the darkness, that thing wearing ranger clothes. In the firelight, I could see him clearly now. His skin was gray, pulled tight over bones that seemed too long, too angular. His mouth opened, revealing teeth that went back too far. You're in my forest, he said in that hollow, echoing voice. You don't leave my forest. This isn't your forest, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. This is federal land, and we're leaving. He tilted his head, and I heard his neck crack like breaking wood. Many have said that. They're all still here. He gestured behind him, and in the darkness, I saw them. Shapes, dozens of them, standing between the trees. Men, women, all wearing hiking clothes from different eras. Some looked recent. Others were decomposed, barely human anymore. All with those same empty, black eyes. Sarah screamed. The thing smiled, if you could call it that. She's been mine since she entered. You've been mine since you followed. The forest doesn't let go. The hell it doesn't. I aimed my weapon at his chest. Last chance. Back off. He laughed, a sound like wind through dead leaves. Bullets can't kill what was never alive. He stepped forward. I fired. The shot echoed through the forest, and he staggered back, surprised. Black liquid, not blood, oozed from the wound in his chest. He looked down at it, then at me, and his face twisted with rage. Run. I grabbed Sarah and we bolted into the darkness, leaving the fire behind. I could hear them all now, the collective footsteps of that army of lost hikers, all moving in unison, hunting us. I ran blindly, pulling Sarah along, branches tearing at our clothes and skin. My lungs burned, my legs screamed, but I didn't stop. Then, impossibly, I saw a light ahead. Artificial light, electric light. We burst out onto a paved road, and I nearly wept with relief. My patrol vehicle was there, parked at the trailhead. We'd somehow made it back. I shoved Sarah into the passenger seat and gunned the engine. As we peeled out, I looked in the rearview mirror. He stood at the tree line, watching us go, surrounded by his collection of lost souls. Our eyes met, and I heard his voice in my head, clear as day. You'll come back. They always come back. I drove until we hit the highway, until the forest was miles behind us. Sarah was treated at the hospital for dehydration and exposure. Physically, she was fine. Mentally, well, she stopped hiking, stopped going into forests at all. I submitted my report. Tom read it, didn't say a word, just locked it in a filing cabinet with a dozen others. The official story was that Sarah got disoriented, and I found her near the creek. But I know what I saw, and Tom was right. I should have stayed out of Sector 7, because sometimes, late at night, I hear that voice in my head, and I feel the pull, this inexplicable urge to go back, to drive out to that trailhead, to walk into those trees. I've been fighting it for 6 months now. I don't know how much longer I can hold out. 3 years after Sector 7, I transferred to a different forest. Needed a fresh start, new memories to replace the old ones. I ended up at Greenwood National Forest, working fire watch in summers. Fire towers are lonely places. You're up there for weeks at a time, scanning the horizon for smoke, reporting weather conditions, maintaining equipment. Most rangers hate it. I like the isolation, like being able to see danger coming from miles away. My tower was designated Tower 12, situated on the highest peak in a 50-mile radius. On a clear day, I could see 3 states. The tower itself was old, built in the 1940s, all wood and steel, standing 80 feet tall. The cabin at the top was small, just big enough for a bed, a desk, and the radio equipment. One window on each wall to give a 360-degree view. I arrived in June when the fire season was just starting. The ranger who'd been up there before me, a guy named Marcus, seemed eager to leave. He showed me around quickly, explaining the basics, how to use the Osborne Fire Finder, how to calculate distances to smoke, what weather patterns to watch for. Pretty straightforward, he said, gathering his stuff. Just you and the forest. Radio checks every morning and evening. Supply drop once a week. Sounds perfect, I said. He paused at the door, hand on the frame. There's one thing. At night, you might hear knocking. Knocking. On the door. On the walls. Just ignore it. Don't open the door. Don't look out the windows. Just ignore it until dawn. I laughed. Is this like the Sector 7 thing? You guys trying to spook the new guy? Marcus didn't laugh back. His face was dead serious. I'm telling you this because the ranger before me didn't listen. They found him in the woods 300 feet down, all broken up at the base of the mountain. Never figure out how he got out of the lock tower. He left before I could ask any more questions. The first week was peaceful. I fell into a routine. Wake up at dawn, do a horizon scan, make coffee, read, scan again at noon, again at sunset. The solitude was healing. I felt the tension from Sector 7 finally starting to leave my shoulders. Then came the 8th night. I was reading by lantern light, the forest dark beyond the windows, when I heard it. 3 sharp knocks on the door. I looked up from my book. My first thought was that Marcus had come back, maybe forgot something, but the supply drop wasn't for another 2 days, and nobody else was supposed to be up here. Hello, I called out. 3 more knocks. Harder this time. I stood up and walked to the door. My hand was reaching for the handle when I remembered Marcus's warning. Don't open the door. I pressed my ear against the wood instead. Who's there? Silence. Then, from right outside, a voice. My voice. Please let me in. I'm scared. There's something in the woods. My blood turned to ice. It was my voice, perfect in every way, even the slight rasp I got when I was tired. But I was inside. I hadn't said those words. Go away, I said, backing from the door. Please. My voice again, desperate now. It's following me. I can hear it getting closer. Please open the door. I grabbed my flashlight and shone it through the window beside the door. The wooden platform outside was empty. Nobody there. Let me in. The voice screamed now, my scream, full of terror. The door handle rattled violently. It's here. It's here. Please. Then came other sounds. Footsteps running across the platform. A struggle. Grunts and impacts, like someone being beaten. And my voice, pleading, crying, begging for help. Every instinct screamed at me to open that door, to help whoever was out there. But I remembered Marcus's face, the ranger before him found broken at the base of the mountain. I backed into the corner of the cabin, hands over my ears, and waited for dawn. The sounds continued for hours. My voice screaming, crying, calling for help. Other voices joined in, also mine, overlapping, creating a chorus of my own terror. Just before dawn, everything stopped. When the sun finally rose, I opened the door with shaking hands. The platform was empty. No signs of struggle, no blood, nothing. Just morning mist rising from the forest below. I radioed down to the base station. This is Tower 12, requesting immediate extraction. The dispatcher, a woman named Carol, sounded concerned. Tower 12, what's wrong? Are you injured? No, but something came to the tower last night. Something that knew my voice. A long pause. Then, Tower 12, you need to complete your rotation. We can't pull you for another 3 weeks. You don't understand. Something is wrong with this tower. David. Her voice became firm. Every ranger in tower service experiences this. It's isolation, stress, your mind playing tricks. You're fine. The tower is fine. If we evacuated every ranger who got spooked, we'd never have anyone on watch. This isn't in my head. 3 weeks, David. Stick it out. The sound will stop. She was wrong. They didn't stop. Every night, the knocking came. Sometimes it was my voice outside. Sometimes it was other voices. Tom from Sector 7, my mother, my ex-wife, people I knew, people I'd lost. They all came to my door, begging to be let in, screaming for help, trying to trick me into opening it. I learned to recognize the pattern. It always started just after sunset. 3 knocks, then the voices. The sounds would escalate throughout the night, getting more desperate, more convincing, until dawn broke the spell. During the day, I functioned on autopilot, scanning for fires, reporting weather, trying not to think about what would come when darkness fell. On the 14th night, I broke. The voice outside was different. It was crying, soft and broken. Not my voice this time. It was a child. Please help me. I'm lost. I can't find my mommy. I pressed against the door. Who are you? My name is Emma. I'm 7. We were camping and I got lost. Please help me find my mom. I grabbed my radio. Base, this is Tower 12. Is there a missing child report? 7-year-old named Emma? Static. Then Carol's voice, groggy with sleep. Tower 12, it's 2 a.m. What are you talking about? There's a child outside my tower. She says she's lost. David, there are no children in this forest. The nearest campground is 20 miles away. You're hearing things again. I can hear her crying. Do not open that door, David. Whatever is out there, it's not a child. Do you understand me? It's never been a child. I closed my eyes, tears running down my face, as Emma's voice continued to cry and beg. It went on for hours. A child's voice, terrified and alone, calling for her mother. When dawn came and the voice stopped, I stood and looked out the east window. The sun rose over the forest, beautiful and indifferent. I noticed something I hadn't seen before. Scratches on the outside of the glass. Deep gouges, like from claws, starting about 6 inches above where the platform ended. Whatever was coming to my tower each night, it could climb. That realization made the next week unbearable. I stopped sleeping, just sat in the corner with my flashlight and service weapon, waiting for sunset. The knocking came like clockwork. The voices continued their torture. But now I watched the windows, terrified I'd see something pulling itself up the tower's frame. On the 21st night, I did. I was watching the north window when a hand appeared at the bottom edge of the glass. Not a normal hand. The fingers were too long, bent at wrong angles, ending in black claws that scraped against the wood. It pulled itself up slowly, and I saw its face. It looked like me. My exact face, down to the scar on my chin from a childhood accident. But the eyes were hollow, empty voids, and the mouth stretched too wide when it smiled. "Let me in," it said in my voice. "I'm so cold out here. So alone. Don't you feel alone, David?" I raised my gun, hand shaking. "Stay back. We're the same, you and I, born from this forest, feeding on fear. You felt it in Sector 7, didn't you? The pull, the connection. You belong here. I'm nothing like you." The thing laughed. "You came back. Even after Sector 7, you came back to the forest, because part of you never left. Part of you became one of us that night. You're lying." It pressed against the glass. "Am I? Don't you hear the whispers sometimes? Don't you dream about walking between the trees, collecting lost souls, adding them to the forest?" "No. Liar." The thing's smile widened. "Open the door, David. Come home. Come be what you were always meant to be." I fired 3 shots through the window. The thing shrieked and fell backward. I heard it hit the platform, then silence. I stayed in that corner until morning, gun trained on the broken window. When dawn came, I radioed base. "This is Tower 12. I'm coming down. Send someone else up here or let the forest burn. I don't care anymore." This time, Carol didn't argue. I descended the tower stairs for the last time, legs weak from lack of sleep and food. When I reached the bottom, I looked up at the cabin. There were no bullet holes in the north window, no broken glass. It looked exactly as it had when I arrived 3 weeks ago. But I knew what I'd seen, what I'd shot at. I drove down the mountain and turned in my resignation the same day. Tom tried to talk me out of it, said I was the best ranger he'd had. But I couldn't explain it to him, couldn't tell him that the forest had marked me in Sector 7, and it would keep trying to claim me until it succeeded. I moved to Phoenix. Desert, concrete, no trees for miles. I work security at a casino now. It's loud, crowded, the opposite of everything I used to love, but I'm safe here. At least, I tell myself I'm safe. Sometimes, late at night, I still hear the knocking. After Tower 12, I promised myself I was done with forest forever. But promises are easy to make and hard to keep when money gets tight. 2 years in Phoenix, and I was barely scraping by. The casino didn't pay enough, and the desert heat was driving me crazy in different ways. When my old friend Jake called and said he needed help with a search and rescue in Montana, I should have said no. I should have hung up and blocked his number. But Jake and I went back to academy days, and he saved my life once on a mountain rescue gone wrong. I owed him. "It's just 3 days, Jake said over the phone. "Simple grid search for a missing hiker. In and out. I'll pay you double the standard rate. I'm retired from ranger work, Jake. I know, but you're the best tracker I've ever worked with. This guy, he's been missing 4 days in the Elkhorn wilderness. Family's worried sick. I've got 5 other guys on it, but we need more boots on the ground." I closed my eyes, already feeling that familiar pull, the one that got stronger every time I tried to resist. "Fine. 3 days. That's it. That's all we need. Thanks, David. I knew I could count on you." I flew into Missoula and drove to the ranger station where Jake was coordinating the search. He looked older than I remembered, more gray in his beard, deeper lines around his eyes. The years hadn't been kind to either of us. "David." He clasped my hand, pulled me into a brief hug. "Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming." "Fill me in." He spread a topographic map across a table. Missing person is Marcus Webb, 34, experienced hiker. He was doing a solo 5-day trek through the Elkhorn Wilderness. He checked in with his wife via satellite phone on day 2, but hasn't made contact since. She reported him missing yesterday. I studied the map. The Elkhorn Wilderness was vast, over 300,000 acres of rugged terrain. What was his planned route? Jake traced a line with his finger. Started here at the North Fork trailhead, planning to summit Mount Elkhorn, then loop back via the Ridge Trail. Should have been out 2 days ago. Weather, clear the whole time. No storms, no incidents reported. He just vanished. I nodded slowly. Give me the northeast quadrant. I'll start there and work my way toward the summit. You sure? That's the roughest terrain. If he's in trouble, that's where he'd be. I set out at dawn the next morning with a day packed full of supplies. The North Fork Trail wound through dense pine forest, gradually climbing toward the peaks visible in the distance. It was beautiful country, untouched and wild, exactly the kind of place that used to fill me with peace. Now it just made me nervous. I hiked for 3 hours, calling Marcus's name every few minutes, scanning the forest for any sign of passage. The trail was well maintained, clearly marked with blazes on trees and signs at junctions. Around noon, I stopped for water at a small creek. That's when I saw it, a trail leading off into the forest. No marking, no sign, just a clear path through the undergrowth. It wasn't on my map. I checked twice to be sure. I should have ignored it, should have radioed Jake and continued on my assigned route. But something about that trail called to me. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was something darker. I followed it. The trail was narrow but well-worn, like many feet had walked it over many years. Strange, considering it wasn't on any map. I marked my position with GPS and continued, alert for any signs of Marcus. After about a mile, the trail opened into a meadow. Wildflowers bloomed in every color, and butterflies danced in the afternoon sun. In the center of the meadow stood a structure. It was made of wood and stone, clearly hand-built, like a primitive shelter. Smoke rose from a chimney fashioned from river rocks. "Hello," I called out. "Forest Service. Anyone home?" The door opened and a woman stepped out. She was maybe 40, with long brown hair and a weathered face. She wore simple clothes, all handmade from what I could tell. "Can I help you, Ranger?" Her voice was soft, almost musical. "I'm looking for a missing hiker. Marcus Webb. He might have come through this area." She tilted her head, studying me. "Many hikers come through. I don't ask names." "When was the last time you saw anyone?" "Yesterday morning. A man matching your description. He seemed confused. I offered him water, but he said he needed to keep moving." My pulse quickened. "Which direction did he go?" She pointed toward the far edge of the meadow. "There's another trail beyond the trees. He took that one." "Can you show me on a map?" I pulled out my topo. She glanced at it and laughed softly. "Your maps are wrong. They've always been wrong. The forest has its own paths, Ranger. Paths that shift and change. You can't chart them with paper and pencil." "What's your name?" I asked, suddenly uneasy. "Does it matter? I need to file a report. You've seen the missing man." She smiled, and something about it reminded me of the thing at the fire tower. "I'm no one, Ranger. I don't exist on your maps either." I stepped back. "How long have you lived out here?" "Long enough to know this place. Long enough to understand what it wants." "And what does it want?" Her smile faded. "To be left alone. But people keep coming. keep pushing deeper into places they shouldn't go, and the forest pushes back. I reach for my radio, but she moved faster than should have been possible. Her hand clamped over mine, surprisingly strong. "Don't," she said quietly. "If you call them here, more will come. More will get lost. This place doesn't like crowds. Let go of me." She released my hand and stepped back. "I'm trying to help you, Ranger. Your friend Marcus." He didn't listen either. He went deeper. And now, she trailed off, looking toward the forest. Now what? Now he belongs to the trail. I pulled away from her and ran toward the far side of the meadow. Behind me, I heard her call out, "You can't save him. The trail only goes one way." I found the path she'd indicated, rougher than the first, barely more than a game trail. I followed at a run, branches whipping at my face. My GPS went haywire, the signal bouncing erratically. After 30 minutes, I burst into another clearing. Marcus was there. He sat against a tree, eyes closed, looking peaceful. For a moment, I thought he was just sleeping. Then I got closer and saw the truth. He was dead. Had been for at least 2 days, judging by the condition of the body. But what stopped me cold was the expression on his face. He was smiling. I keyed my radio with shaking hands. "Jake, this is David. I found Marcus Webb. He's deceased. I need an extraction team at my location." Static answered me. I checked my radio, bars full, but no response. "Jake? Dispatch? Anyone?" Nothing. I checked my GPS. The coordinates read as gibberish, numbers that didn't make sense. I pulled out my compass. The needle spun wildly, useless. I looked around the clearing. The trail I'd followed was gone. The undergrowth had closed behind me like it was never there. In every direction, I saw only dense forest, no path, no markings, nothing. "No," I whispered. "No, no, no." I picked a direction and started walking, tried to navigate by the sun, but the canopy was too thick. I walked for what felt like hours. Every clearing looked the same. Every tree looked familiar. I was going in circles. As night began to fall, I heard her voice again, the woman from the meadow. "I told you," she called from somewhere in the darkness. "The trail only goes one way. Show me the way out." I shouted, "There is no way out. Not anymore. You followed the path that wasn't on your maps. You came to a place that doesn't want to be found. Now you're part of it, like Marcus, like all the others." "What others?" "Come and see." Against every instinct, I followed her voice. I had no other choice. She led me deeper into the forest, until I came to a place I can barely describe. Imagine a grove where the trees grew in a perfect circle. In the center, more bodies, 6 of them, all hikers, all in various states of decay. They sat arranged like they were having a conversation, heads tilted toward each other, all wearing that same peaceful smile. The woman stood among them. They found the trail. They followed it to the end, and now they rest. "This is insane. You killed them." She shook her head. "I'm a symptom, not a cause. The forest marked this place long before I arrived. Some places are like that, Ranger, thin spots where the rules don't apply. You know this. You've felt it before. Sector 7, the fire tower. She was right. I had felt it. "Let me go," I said. "Please." "I can't, but I'll make you the same offer I made them. Stay here, rest, join us, or try to find your way out. But the forest is big and night is coming. You'll walk until you drop. And when you finally stop, when exhaustion takes you, you'll sit down against a tree. You'll close your eyes, and you'll smile because you'll finally understand." "Understand what?" "That the forest was always going to win. I ran. Blind panic took over, and I crashed through the undergrowth with no direction, no plan. Branches cut my face. Roots grabbed at my feet. And behind me, I heard her laughter, light and terrible. I don't know how long I ran. Time lost meaning in that place. Eventually, I collapsed at the base of a huge pine tree. My lungs burned. My legs wouldn't work anymore. The darkness was complete now. Not even stars visible through the canopy. This was how Marcus died, I realized, running until he couldn't run anymore, sitting down to rest, closing his eyes. I felt it then. The pull, the same pull I'd felt leaving Sector 7, the same whisper I'd heard at the fire tower. The forest offered me peace, offered me an end to the running and the fear. All I had to do was close my eyes. My eyelids grew heavy. The pain in my body began to fade, replaced by a warm numbness. I could hear music in the wind through the trees, something ancient and wordless. Beautiful. Just close your eyes. It whispered. Rest. You've earned it. You've run so far, fought so hard. Let go. My eyes started to drift shut. Then my radio crackled. Vid, hear me? David. Jake's voice, distant and broken with static, but real. Actual human contact from the world I'd left behind. The spell broke. I grabbed the radio, hand shaking. Jake! Jake, I'm here. I'm lost. I can't find the trail. David, thank God. We've been trying to reach you for hours. What's your location? I looked at my GPS. Still gibberish. I don't know. My equipment's not working. Jake! There's something wrong with this place. There are bodies here. Multiple victims. And there's a woman. David, listen to me. I need you to stay calm. Fire a shot into the air. We'll triangulate your position. I drew my service weapon and fired 3 times into the canopy. The shots echoed through the forest, and somewhere in the distance, I heard birds take flight. Normal sounds. Real sounds. We heard it. We're coming to you. Keep talking so we can track your position. I talked. I talked about everything and nothing. Just kept my voice going. Kept myself anchored to reality. And slowly, impossibly, I began to hear voices in the distance. Calling my name. Human voices. The woman appeared one last time, stepping out from behind a tree. They're close now. You're lucky, Ranger. Luckier than most. But this isn't over. The forest remembers you. It will call you back. I'm not coming back. She smiled sadly. That's what they all say. Then she was gone, melting into the shadows like she'd never been there at all. 30 minutes later, Jake found me with 2 other Rangers. They looked relieved and terrified in equal measure. Jesus, David, we thought we lost you. Jake said, pulling me to my feet. What happened? Marcus Webb is dead. There are other bodies. 2. A grove. 6 more victims, maybe more. We need to secure the area. They exchanged glances. David, we already found Marcus. He's alive. Dehydrated and confused, but alive. We got him out 2 hours ago. I stared at him. That's impossible. I saw his body. He was dead. You're exhausted, disoriented. The altitude, the stress. I know what I saw. Jake put a hand on my shoulder. Let's get you out of here. We'll talk after you've had some rest. They led me back through the forest. Jake was right about one thing. I was disoriented because the path we took was clearly marked, well-maintained, nothing like the overgrown nightmare I'd fought through. After only 20 minutes, we emerged at the North Fork trailhead where I'd started that morning. According to my watch, I'd been gone for 12 hours. According to Jake, I'd been missing for 48. At the ranger station, they checked me over. Minor cuts and bruises, dehydration, but otherwise fine. Marcus was there, wrapped in a blanket, sipping hot coffee. He looked up when I entered. "You're the guy who found me?" he asked. I thought I did. "What do you remember?" He frowned. "I followed a trail off the main route. It wasn't on my map, but it looked interesting. After that, everything gets fuzzy. I remember walking, getting confused, maybe passing out. Next thing I knew, rangers were waking me up and leading me out." "Did you see a woman? Living in a meadow?" His face went pale. "How did you know about her?" Jake stepped between us. "That's enough. David, you need rest. Marcus, you too." But Marcus grabbed my arm. "She told me the forest wanted to keep me. Said I had to choose to leave or choose to stay. I barely chose to leave. It was like something was in my head, trying to make me want to stay." "I know," I whispered. I felt it too. They wouldn't let me go back to search for the grove with the bodies. Said I was too traumatized, seeing things that weren't there. They did send a team into the area I described, but they found nothing. No meadow, no woman's shelter, no grove of bodies. Just normal forest. But they did find one thing. Scratch marks on trees in a circular pattern, like something had been dragged around in a circle. And boot prints from at least 6 different people, all converging on one spot, then disappearing. I left Montana the next day. Didn't even say goodbye to Jake. I couldn't stay in that place another minute. Back in Phoenix, I tried to convince myself it was all in my head. Stress, altitude sickness, dehydration. Logical explanations for illogical experiences. But I couldn't explain the dreams. Every night, I walked that trail again. Every night, I found the meadow and the woman welcomed me home. Every night, I sat down against that tree and felt a piece of surrender. And every morning, I woke up wanting to go back. The forest had marked me years ago in Sector 7. It had tried to claim me at the fire tower. And now, after the trail that wasn't there, I understood the truth. It would never stop trying. And one day, when I was weak or tired or just worn down enough, I would answer its call. I would follow a trail that wasn't on any map. And I would never come back. I lasted 6 months in Phoenix before I broke. 6 months of desert heat and casino lights and the constant, gnawing hunger to be among trees again. The dreams got worse. Every night, the forest called. Every morning, I woke up with dirt under my fingernails. Even though I'd showered before bed, I was losing my mind, or the forest was pulling me back. Maybe both. In December, I got a call from an unknown number. When I answered, Tom's voice crackled through. "David, I need you." "Tom, I can't. I'm done with." "It's Jake." My stomach dropped. "What about Jake?" "He's missing. Went into the Greenwood National Forest 4 days ago. Haven't heard from him since. His wife called in yesterday. David. He went into Sector 7. The name hit me like a physical blow. Sector 7, where it all started. Where I'd saved Sarah Chun and barely made out myself. Why we go there? Tom's voice was heavy. Because you told him about it. After Montana, he started asking questions, reading old reports. He became obsessed with patterns, disappearances in national forests. Said he found something, a connection between certain areas. He wanted to document it, prove it was real. And you let him go in there alone? I didn't know until he was already gone. Left a note saying he'd be back in 3 days. That was 4 days ago. David, I've sent 2 teams in. Both came back after a few hours, said they felt wrong, like the forest was pushing them out. I need someone who understands what's in there. I closed my eyes. This was it. The moment I've been dreading and craving in equal measure. The forest wanted me back, and now it had the perfect bait. I'll be there tomorrow. David. I know it's a trap, Tom. I know the forest is using Jake to pull me in, but he's my friend. I'm coming. I booked a red-eye flight and drove to Greenwood by morning. Tom met me at the ranger station, looking older than the last time I'd seen him. He spread a map on the table, the same map I'd looked at 3 years ago. Jake's car is at the Sector 7 trailhead. We found his tent set up near the clearing you mentioned in your report, the one with the structure made of branches and bones. I studied the map, memories flooding back. Sarah Chen's face, pale with terror. The thing that looked like a man in a ranger uniform. The army of lost souls standing in the darkness. What's the current staff situation? Most rangers won't go near Sector 7 anymore. Word spreads. They know something's wrong with that place. I've got 2 volunteers willing to go with you, both experienced. No, my voice was firm. I go alone. David, that's suicide. It's what the forest wants. Me, if I bring others, it'll just take them too. At least this way, I'm the only one at risk. Tom started to argue, then stopped. He knew I was right. He'd seen the reports, read the accounts. Sector 7 took people, and it especially wanted me. He handed me a satellite phone, checking every 2 hours. If I don't hear from you by nightfall, I'm sending in everyone I've got. Consequences be damned. If you don't hear from me by nightfall, don't send anyone. Burn the whole sector if you have to, but don't send more people to die. I loaded my pack with the essentials: water, food, first aid, flares, and my service weapon with extra ammunition. As I was leaving, Tom called out, "David, come back. Both of you." I nodded but didn't promise anything. The drive to the Sector 7 trailhead took 30 minutes. Jake's truck sat in the small parking area, exactly where Sarah's car had been 3 years ago. I felt like I was stepping into a loop, time repeating itself. The forest was quiet as I started down the trail. Too quiet. No birds, no insects, no wind through the trees. Just the sound of my boots on packed earth and my own breathing. I remembered every turn, every landmark. The forest hadn't changed. If anything, it felt more oppressive. The trees closer together, their branches reaching like grasping fingers. After an hour, I reached Jake's campsite. His tent was set up properly, but empty. His pack was inside, partially unpacked. A journal lay open on his sleeping bag. I picked it up and read the last entry. Day 3 in Sector 7. I found it, the pattern David mentioned. This place is a nexus point, where the barrier between our world and something else is thin. I've documented 17 similar locations across North America, all with the same characteristics. Unexplained disappearances, distorted navigation equipment, witnesses reporting beings that mimic human appearance. But Sector 7 is different. It's active, aggressive. I've seen them. The lost ones trapped here, their forms twisted by whatever force controls this place. They watch from the trees. They call out in familiar voices. They're trying to lure me deeper. I think I understand now what happened to David. This place recognized something in him, marked him as its own, and now it's trying to bring him back. If anyone finds this journal and David is reading it, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have come here, but I had to know. I had to prove you weren't crazy. Now I know you weren't, and I know why you could never fully escape. The forest remembers. The forest always remembers. I'm going to the clearing tonight, the structure David described. I need to see it for myself. I need to understand what we're dealing with. If I don't come back, tell my wife I love her, and tell David it's not his fault. This thing has been here long before us, and it will be here long after. Jake. I set the journal down with shaking hands. Jake had gone to the clearing last night. That was where I'd find him, or what was left of him. I keyed the satellite phone. Tom, I found Jake's camp. He went to the clearing yesterday. I'm going after him. Be careful, David. Too late for that. I left the campsite and pushed deeper into Sector 7. The forest grew darker, more dense. My GPS started glitching just like before. The compass needle spun uselessly. But I didn't need instruments. My body remembered the way. Some part of me that had been marked 3 years ago knew exactly where to go, like a homing signal pulling me forward. I emerged into the clearing just as the afternoon sun began to sink toward the horizon. The structure was still there, branches and bones, twisted together in impossible ways. But it had grown. What had been maybe 6 feet tall was now twice that, stretching toward the sky like a macabre monument. And Jake was there. He sat at the base of the structure, back against it, eyes closed. For a terrible moment, I thought he was dead like Marcus, but like I thought Marcus was. Then his eyes opened. David, you came. His voice was wrong. Hollow, like the thing I'd met 3 years ago. Jake, we need to leave. Right now. He smiled, and it wasn't Jake's smile. But we just got here. The forest has been waiting for you. For us. We're home now. I approached slowly, hand near my weapon. That's not you talking. That's this place, in your head. Fight it, Jake. Remember your wife, your life outside these trees. My life outside? He laughed, bitter and sad. My life outside is bills and schedules and slowly die inside a cage. Here I'm free. Here I understand. The forest knows secrets. David, it showed me things. Beautiful, terrible things. Jake, listen to me. It showed me you. His eyes focused on me, suddenly clear and sharp. It showed me what happened to you in Sector 7, how it marked you, how you fought it for 3 years, but always knew you'd come back, because part of you never left. He was right, and we both knew it. I came for you, I said, to bring you home. I am home, and so are you. Stop fighting, David. You've been fighting for so long. Don't you want to rest? Movement in my peripheral vision. Figures stepping out from between the trees. The lost ones. More than before. Dozens of them. All wearing hiking clothes from different decades. All with those empty black eyes. They've been waiting, Jake said, growing stronger. Every person who comes to Sector 7 either escapes or joins them. And every person who joins and makes the forest stronger makes its reach longer. Eventually, it won't be contained to just this sector. It will spread. The leader stepped forward. The thing in the ranger uniform, the one I'd met 3 years ago. It looked more solid now, more real, like it was gaining strength. Welcome back, it said in that hollow voice. We knew you'd return. The forest always calls its children home. I drew my weapon, aimed at its chest. I'm not your child, and I'm taking Jake out of here. It tilted its head. You can't fight all of us. And even if you could, even if you escaped again, you'd still carry us inside you. The mark goes deeper than flesh, Ranger. It's in your soul now. Maybe, but I'm not giving up without a fight. I fired. The bullet struck the thing in the chest, that same black ichor oozing out. It staggered back, surprised. The other lost ones began to advance. I grabbed Jake and hauled him to his feet. He resisted, but he was weak from days without proper food or water. I dragged him toward the edge of the clearing. Run. I shouted at him. Jake, run. Something in my voice broke through. His eyes cleared slightly, confusion replacing the hollow emptiness. David, what's happening? Run toward the trailhead. Don't stop, don't look back. I fired again, driving the lost ones back. They moved as a unit, coordinated, like a hive mind controlling them all. Jake stumbled into the forest, and I followed, laying down covering fire. We crashed through the undergrowth. Behind us, I could hear them coming. Not running. They never ran. Just walking with that same steady, inevitable pace. I can't, Jake gasped. I can't run anymore. It's in my head, David. It's telling me to stop, to go back. Fight it. Think about your wife, your life, everything you have to live for. It's so strong. I can feel it pulling me. I grabbed his arm and pulled him forward. Then I'll carry you if I have to. We're getting out of here. The forest fought us. Roots seemed to reach up and grab at our feet. Branches whipped at our faces. The path kept shifting, trying to turn us around, lead us back to the clearing. But I'd done this before. I knew the forest tricks. I focused on the fading light in the west, used it as my compass, and dragged Jake toward it. We broke through the tree line just as the sun touched the horizon. Jake's truck was 50 yards away. So close. Almost there, I said. Come on, Jake. Stay with me. We stumbled into the parking area. I shoved Jake toward his truck, fumbling for his keys. The engine roared to life. In the rear-view mirror, I saw them, the entire horde of lost ones standing at the tree line, watching us go. The thing in the ranger uniform stood at the front, and I heard its voice in my head one last time. This changes nothing. You still belong to us. The mark remains. You'll be back, David. They always come back. I floored the accelerator and didn't look back again. Jake recovered in the hospital over the next week. Physically, he was fine. Mentally, he was scarred in ways that might never heal. He resigned from the Ranger service and moved to Florida with his wife. Last I heard, they were doing okay, though he never goes near wooded areas anymore. Tom asked me to write one final report on Sector 7. I did, detailing everything Jake and I experienced. I recommended the sector be permanently closed, the trails blocked, warning signs posted. It won't matter, Tom said when I handed him the report. People will still go in. They always do. Something about that place draws them. Then you need to burn it, level the whole sector. You know we can't do that. Then more people will die. He nodded slowly. I know. I turned in my badge that day. For good this time. No more forests, no more trees, no more answering the call. But I still hear it. Every day, every night. The whisper in the back of my mind, patient and persistent. The forest reminding me that I'm marked, that I belong to it, that one day I'll stop fighting and come home. Sometimes I dream about walking into Sector 7-1 last time, not to save anyone, not to fight, just to stop running, to accept what I am, what I become. But not yet, not today, maybe not ever. I'm writing this account because people need to know, need to understand that there are places in this world that don't follow normal rules. Thin places, dark places, places where something old and hungry waits for the lost and the marked. If you ever find yourself in a forest that feels wrong, where the compass spins and the GPS fails, where you hear voices calling you deeper, turn back. Don't follow the trail that isn't on your maps. Don't answer the knocking at your door. Don't believe the familiar voices begging for help. And if you feel that pull, that inexplicable urge to keep going deeper, to see what's just beyond the next hill, fight it with everything you have. Because once the forest marks you, once it knows your name and your face and your soul, it will never stop calling you home. And one day, you might be too tired to resist. I live in the city now. Phoenix, with its heat and concrete and blessed absence of trees. I work security. I keep my head down. I take my medication. And I try not to think about Sector 7. But on quiet nights, when sleep won't come and the darkness presses close, I hear it still. The forest calling my name, waiting for me to come home.